I don't know if many of you remember this, but back in 2016, there was a creepy clown trend where people dressed as creepy clowns would hang out in places after dark or stalk people. My story takes place on my college campus during the fall of the year. I lived with my grandparents before leaving for school. I'm extremely close to them. Also, I'm very shy and had zero friends or people I regularly hung out with at school. I wanted to reach out and meet new folks, so I signed up for a salsa dancing club that met on Friday nights. I told my grandma over the phone, and she was happy. I was putting myself out there. She asked if I was going with anybody. No, I told her, I'm just gonna go by myself. Are you sure? She asked. Don't any of your roommates want to go? The idea of talking to my roommates terrified me. I could handle structured gatherings, but personal conversations left more of my awkwardness to creep in. No, they're not here. I don't want you walking around campus by yourself at night. I thought my grandma was just being overprotective. Grandma, it's fine. The streets are well lit and it's only 10 minutes walk. It's perfectly safe. Well, if you are not going with anybody, call me and let me talk to you on the phone as you walk back. I agreed. That evening was incredibly fun, and learning the basic steps and dancing to upbeat Latin tunes at around 10:30 I felt ready to head back to my dorm, so I snuck out of the building and headed towards my dorm. Although that paved path I was walking on was lit by street lights, it seemed darker than usual. In addition, the entire camp was deserted. Normally, there were quite few kids my age wandering around, but that night there was not a soul to be seen. I dialed my grandma and made small talk with her as I walked. I took my heels off and I carried them in my free hand. Now, the path I was walking on went past a stretch of sidewalk that was perpendicular to one I was taking. Under one of the street lights, about 10 meters away, I noticed a long figure standing with its back toward me. The figure, hearing me chatting on the phone, slowly turned towards me. He was tall and heavy set, with wild red hairs, and appeared to be wearing light blue pajamas. His face was obscured by a killer clown mask. The mask was stark white with dark black eye socket and twisted grin. Time seemed suddenly slow way down. The clown did not move toward me. He simply stood there, staring. I knew I had to think fast. I contemplated my options. I could scream like a little girl and run, approach him and confront him, or pretend he didn't scare me. The entire moment I just described couldn't have lasted more than a second, but in the moment it felt like an eternity. Are you there? I heard my grandma say, remembering to breathe, the phone still at my ear. I decided to go with plan C. I broke eye contact with the clown. So, anyway, I said loudly enough that the clown would hear me. Yeah, I'm on my way, I continued. Lopsided squid, what's going on? Is everything okay? I heard Grandma ask, her voice suddenly filled with anxiety. As confidently and as I could, I walked past the sidewalk where the clown was standing, continuing to chat. His head slowly turned as I walked past, watching me until I was out of sight. I ducked into the archway of the nearest building and tried the door, praying it was unlocked. It was. Once I was inside, I slumped against one of the concrete walls and broke down in tears. I explained to my grandma what had just happened. My grandma yelled for my grandpa to dial the campus police on his cell phone so that I could stay on the line with her. I got up and started pacing up and down the empty halls, checking every door and window to see if the psycho clown had followed me. Was he just a stupid kid doing this on a dare? Or was he someone with more evil intentions? Some of the creepy clowns in the news had axes or baseball bats. I had no idea if mine was armed. My grandpa tried to explain to the officer on the phone what happened, that I needed help. He told my grandpa, your granddaughter needs to make the call herself. Apparently, the reason I had to talk to them was so that they could be sure the call wasn't just a prank or some stupid reason like that. The point is that they couldn't take my grandparents' word that I was in distress. I would have to hang up with my grandma and dial the campus police myself. Not knowing if I would survive the night, I told my grandma between sobs, I love you. I love you too, grandma. I love you too. My grandma was also crying. I dialed campus police and told them who I was and what happened. The officer on the phone sent me several other officers to find me while I stayed on the phone with him and gave him description of the clown. As I was talking, I heard a door open. I froze. Was the clown here? Did he find a way in? A tidal wave of relief washed over me as several officers came striding down the corridor. They walked with me back to my dorm. As soon as I was inside, I locked my door and window was shut and the blinds. I called my grandma back to tell her I was safe. After talking for a little while longer, we said goodnight. Since then, I've made a few friends at school. While I'm in a better place now, I don't go out alone after dark anymore. And as for the creepy clown, let's not meet again.